You know you like that. Come on. You know you like that.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to Live It Out Inc. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you for joining us again on this terrific Tuesday. Please remember to subscribe to our Live It Out Inc. YouTube page. Click like and join us in the chat. Check in and let us know you're watching in, you're tuned in to us. Tonight is going to be a phenomenal night. Welcome to Live It Out Inc., the podcast where we have honest conversation about mental health, healing, and the real life challenges people face every day. I am Janice, your host, and tonight we're talking about something that doesn't get discussed enough: the mental health and emotional toll of high stress careers. Last week we had teachers, but what happens when emergencies happen? There are people who answer the call literally, but what happens to the people who are constantly helping others through the crisis? Tonight, we're joined by a 911 operator and a firefighter / EMT technician to talk about what it's really like being on the front lines of emergencies, the emotional weight it carries, how these careers impact mental health, and what they do to cope with the stress that most of us never see. This conversation may be emotional, powerful, and eye-opening, but it is an important one. So wherever you are listening from, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, in your car, at home, at work, take a moment, get comfortable, and let's live it out together. I want to introduce my guests tonight, Mr. Randy and Mr. Desmond. Come on in. There we go. We got Mr. Randy. Mr. Randy is our firefighter and EMT, and Desmond is our 911 operator. So just to get started, I will let Mr. Randy tell us a little bit about himself and what made you choose this career. You can't hear me? IT guy, can you check the thing?
Move on to Desmond until we get Randy situated.
Okay. Desmond, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Okay, Desmond, go ahead. The same question. Tell us a little about what you do and what made you choose this career.
Absolutely. So I am a 911 professional working in the 911 industry. I've been years now. Really something that I fell into. I didn't search this job out. It kind of just found me. I tell the story all the time, but my mother was actually applying for jobs, and at the time you had to take a test to go through the hiring process. And she was like, I want you to take this test with me. And I'm like, sure, whatever. So we both applied, we both took the test, and we both passed. And one day she came to me, and we're going to keep going through the process. But she sat down and she was like, I think that you would do a much better job at this than I would. So I'm going to drop out, and I want you to keep doing it. And I kept going through the process. So I think probably like 3-4 months later, I got the job, and I've been in it for 11 years. December of this year will be 12 years.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations on your work anniversary. Congratulations. Randy, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now. I'm with you.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so the same thing, Randy, tell us a little bit about you and how did you choose the career as a firefighter and EMT?
Okay, I'm Randy Graham, father of 3 boys, 22, 12, and 9. I've been a firefighter with City of Atlanta for 10 years. Well, 9 going on 10 years. It'll be 10 years in October. To be honest with you, I don't have a superhero story with mine. I came up with, it was an opportunity that came up. I took the opportunity, and I just happened to fall in love with the job.
Oh, good. So you didn't, when you was growing up, it was not like, oh, I want to be a firefighter.
No, I didn't have that. I don't have that story. No, I was at a party. I met a party for a young man was going away to school, going away to college or something, or to the army. He was going away to the army, and the chief of the fire department at the time was there, and we got to talking. Came to find out his lieutenant was a classmate of mine from back all the way back in Detroit, and because I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and from there, we got on the phone. They was like, "Hey, if you do what you need to do, we can get you in." And I took it up and been there since. I'm now a lieutenant at the fire department, and I love it.
Oh, well, congratulations on being lieutenant. Now, guys, before starting this work, what did you think the job would be like versus what it actually became, especially since both of y'all said you kind of just fell into it? So what was it? What did you think it would be like versus what it actually was? And we can start with you, Desmond.
I will say I had no idea what to expect. I'm gonna take that back. What most people see about 911 is what they see on TV, what they see on CSI or whatever, and it's all the computers and the craziness coming in. So that's kind of what I thought it would be, and then I got into it and I realized it's not that. People aren't always calling about stabbings and shootings and things like that. It's people calling us about domestics, and they're calling you about their stubbed toe, and they're calling you because their stomach hurts and they don't know what to do. It's a lot of things that I wouldn't say is an emergency, but I know for these people in that moment, it's the worst moment of their life. So it was kind of a wake-up call, getting in there and trying and like adjusting to, okay, this is not TV, this is real life. These are actual people. And it's not shoot and stab and killing every day.
Right.
So that was kind of refreshing, because you go into it and you're thinking it's going to be chaos all the time, and it's not that. It's chaos some of the time for short bursts, and then everything's back to normal.
Right. For example, like the cat being in the tree, when the people call back the cat in the tree. Girl, shake that tree so that cat can fall down. Don't call us. I get it. I understand. Okay, so for you, Randy, what was it? What did you think being a firefighter was going to be like?
I didn't come in with a fairy tale. I kind of knew that it was going to be dangerous. And I took the point of view. The job I left before that, I knew I could go back. And when I was in training, I said, okay, if this job seems like it's going to be too much for me, I'll leave. I didn't want to take the job and be out. Supposedly we supposed to go out and save people's lives, and I didn't want to be out there and feel like I couldn't do it and risk my life and somebody else's life. So I had already came up in my mind, if it's not for me, I'll just leave. So
with that, like you went in, like when you took that, because you a firefighter, y'all. I mean, even when you think about 911, when them people was first one in the building, not really knowing what to expect, not knowing what was gonna happen. I'm like, how do you wear that? Like, what's the thought process?
It's always a running joke with firefighters that we a little crazy. So that thought process. I mean, we have, if you talk to most firefighters, most even EMTs that's on the ambulance, if you talk to them, they have a weird sense of humor, sometimes a very dark sense of humor. So you kind of get to a point of view where, as you in the job, that is part of sometimes that is part of the mental health for us to tell these dark jokes. Other people might not get it, but we get it,
right?
Because it's our way of diffusing the situation for us.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because you guys been in a lot of tough situations. Yeah. Now, when we talk about the mental health and the emotional impact, over time, because you say you was in it for you've been here since 9 going on 10 years. Desmond, I think you said this is your 12th year. Over the years, how has this job affected your mental health? Like, what are some different things that you've known that's changed about you, or different emotions that you experience? One thing that I know would have kept me from being a firefighter is fear. I definitely would have been, just petrified of knowing just what the job entails from just looking at TV. Fire, all of that stuff would just scare me from the top.
I'll let Desmond go first.
Okay, go Desmond.
I would say how my emotions changed since working in this job. I think that I've become more, I don't want to say heartless because that sounds terrible. But I will say that I've become numb to certain things. Like, things don't affect me as much. Because even in my real life. So I can sit there and I can take calls all day, CPR call, whatever, stabbing, shooting, whatever, and it doesn't bother me. Whereas the person next to me or the person on the other side of the room, they're torn up about it, and I'm just like, okay, we got more calls to answer. The phones are still ringing. The people still need help, so I need you to answer these calls. So I've definitely become numb to certain situations. Heartless, but not in a cruel way, and not really an emotion, but I would say that I'm less patient with people. People will call 911 and try to tell you their entire life story. I don't need that. Tell me what's going on right now. Why are you calling me right now? Why do you need the police? Why do you need the fire department? I don't need to know what happened to Jim Bob 10 years ago, and now today his toe is hurting. Tell me what's going on right now.
Right. So just straight to the point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I guess in that field, you gotta be like, I can't help you if I'm crying and feeling sorry for you. I need to be able to help you and process what you're going through.
Absolutely. And what I tell people all the time is, if I'm torn up, if I'm not good, then I can't show up for the people.
Right.
And my job is to show up for the people. So I got to make sure I'm good. So sometimes people do take calls and you got to send them on their way to take a break, to go take a walk or whatever. But I need you to come back into this room and I need you to be ready to answer these calls.
Okay.
I would say, without dibbling and dabbling into my past life, I probably have become more. I might be a little bit more sensitive to what's going on now than I used to be. Most people tell me in the past would have said that I was heartless in the past. So now I'm a little bit more sensitive to some people's needs. I will say, you start getting calls at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you know that it's a bunch of bull crap. You like, really, why are you calling? You know what I'm saying? But besides that, when it's when you know you're going out there and it may be a real call, you are, I'm a little bit more open to, like, okay, let me see what's going on. I think the other thing is, because now that I am a lieutenant, I do have to look out not just for me, but for my crew and what's going on around. I've had some situations in the last month that were very sketchy, without getting into a lot of details, because there's still some pending things going on with those situations. So they were very sketchy, very dangerous. And I have to look out, not just for me again. I have to look out for my crew. I got to look out for that citizen or that person that's in danger and things like that. As far as some things that has helped me with is, I coming into the fire department, I was probably deathly afraid of heights, and I had to get over that. And part of that, having to climb ladders and stuff like that, and I end up becoming getting on a special operations unit. So we do rope rescues, high angle rope rescues and stuff like that. So having to learn how to do those things helped me to kind of beat some of my fears and everything like that too.
Oh, okay. So when that stress on a job, does it follow you home? Desmond had like what kinds of stress follow you home after a shift? Like a whew, first of all, do you guys work like a regular shift? Like Desmond, is your shift regular? Like for
No.
me, I know it's just I know I'm going to work. I got a different shift, but it's basically the same thing every day. I'm never working past 5:30. I know every day I'm gonna go home at least by 5:30. And I know in the morning I either gonna be there at 6:30 or I'm gonna be there at 8 o'clock.
So
So
we work 12-hour shifts, scheduled from 6 to 6. And usually you get to leave at 6 unless there's something crazy going on. You may need to stay over. The next shift can't get in. But usually your schedule is set. But like I said, you know what's going on in your day. For us, we don't even know what's happening in the next moment. We don't know what the next phone call is. We don't know what the next traffic across the radio is going to be. So a lot of it is being on edge all the time and always up here. You don't get a chance to come down because you never know what's going to happen. And if you do get a chance to come down, you could be good right here. Somebody could flip a car on the interstate and everybody's back up here again.
right.
We do work long hours, but I think somehow, in some way, having those 12-hour shifts and having that 12 hours to like calm down after shift before your next shift, it helps us in a way, because if I was working any other schedule and I brought that back to my family, I wouldn't like that for them. But to answer your question about what kind of stress comes home with me, when I started this job, I realized that when I take off my uniform, that's it for me. I don't, when I take the logo off, the stress goes away with it. Of course, that's hard to do. Sometimes you do still think about some of the calls that you take, but I try to leave it at work. I leave it with the uniform until I put that uniform back on the next day.
Okay.
Now I'm on the admin side. So I used to work night shift. Now I'm on the admin side. So I got a work phone that's always with me. So now my stress is here.
It's back there. You got it with you.
Oh,
Oh,
but it's okay.
you done brought it to the house with you.
It's here all the time.
Okay. All right. What about you, Randy? What stress follows you?
So same thing. We don't work a regular schedule, 24 on, 48 off. So 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. the next morning. If you're working overtime, it's probably 48 on, 24 off for us at where I work at. Those stresses, for me, I do a lot of other things. And so those other things help me to relieve that stress.
Okay.
I do a lot of different creative type things. I also have a podcast that I do monthly, and those things help me to get rid of that stress. Firefighting is hard on regular life. A lot of firefighters have, it's a running joke that you're not a real firefighter till you've been through one divorce. so
I've heard that.
So, and I've been through my divorce on the fire department. So, those things happen as far as that. And I don't know if stress from the fire department actually went home with me. A lot of times I try to leave that at the station. But I can't say that some of the calls that we get and some of the calls I've seen haven't, messed with my head a little bit and everything. I do go to therapy. I have a therapist that I go to. I may skip months without going and then go back. And then when I feel like I need to go regularly, I go regularly, just to help me deal with different stresses. And a lot of times my stress, we very rarely talk about the job. We talk about other things that's going on in my life.
Right.
But I feel like that helps me to deal with the job better also.
So with the therapy, is that something that the job like requires, or is that something you went out on your own and did?
So it's not something that's required. I was going through some things going through a breakup, a relationship breakup, and different
Okay.
things. And normally I'm a person that can kind of talk myself through things, and this time I really couldn't. And I went through the job to get something.
Okay.
I worked with that person for a while. Then I didn't go back for some years. I didn't go back for a couple of years. And I knew that the person I went through therapy with had her own outside position or whatever. So I went and found her there because I worked well with her when I was going through therapy through the job. And come to find out, she had already left the job, and she had her own practice. So now I work with her outside of the job. I don't go through the job. It's very hard sometimes to go through the job, just because sometimes your business does get out in the street.
Yeah.
And so it's not supposed to, but it does happen at times. And I think the higher you get up the ranks, the more people start, oh, well, what's going on with that person? So I'd rather do something outside of the department.
Oh, well, good for you for seeking therapy, knowing that you needed a little self push.
Yeah.
I heard you, Desmond, when you was talking earlier. You were saying something about you're kind of numb to some of the stuff that you hear, and that's kind of part of my next question is that do you feel the pressure to be strong even like when you're struggling? Like even when you hearing these horror stories, or you going into these horrific situations, do you have to just put on that persona that I gotta be who I am to do what I need to do? And does that affect your, like, this work, the work that you do? Because it's so intense. And first of all, thank you guys for what you do. I don't know if the public thanks you guys enough, but seriously, thank you guys for what you do. Does it affect your relationships? Randy, you said you already had that firehouse divorce. So you kind of answer part of that question. But your sleep mood, your anxiety, your relationships, the family, the kids. You got 3 kids, Randy. Does this work? Does it affect that? And do you feel like you just have to be Superman all the time, even when you don't feel like it?
Well,
go ahead, Desmond. I'll let you do it. Go ahead, Desmond.
Okay. In the job, I don't feel like I have to be the tough guy or the strong person all the time. And I would say that's because I work in a predominantly female industry.
Oh, okay.
A lot of 911 operators are women, so I don't have to be the super hard guy walking around the office. I can just be me, and we gonna tough these calls out. And if we got to cry together, then we got to cry together. But also, I recognize that these calls got to be answered, so both of us got to suck it up and handle these calls. But how has the job affected my personal life? Not necessarily relationships, but I will say working overnight for 8 years, 12-hour shifts, and kind of the schedule that we worked, I did miss a lot of time with my family. And that's actually some conversations that I've been having with my therapist lately, just missing out on birthdays and not spending time with family because I get off at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. And if y'all want to go to breakfast at 10 a.m., I ain't going to make it because it's not going to happen for me. When my grandmother was sick, and I don't want to say on her deathbed, but probably in her final months, years of living, my mother and my cousins, they were going back home to Alabama pretty much like twice a month. I wasn't able to do that because I was working. Looking back, I wish I would have taken some time off. I wish I would have made more time for my family. I wish I would have not been so tired and gone back home. Is there anything I can do about it? No. Does it really affect me, and I'm torn up about it. Not really, but it's definitely something I think about, and the things that I wish I could do differently.
Right.
Um, so I would say that's how the job has affected my mental and just the I and my personal relationships. I wish I would have made more time for my family, especially in those first couple of years, because I threw myself into work. I lived right across the street from the job, and if they called and said, "Hey, so and so called out, you want to come work overtime?"
You was
I'll be there
there.
in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was there, and I was working like crazy, and I worked myself too much, and I missed out on the important stuff, the family stuff.
But we're doing better.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I have to totally agree with Desmond. And I probably still miss out on a lot of family stuff with my children and stuff now with not being being separated and not being in the household with them. I do miss a lot of things. Some of the things, I chalk it up to I have to make this money so that they can do the things that they need to do also, you know what I'm saying? So that's part of it. So I'll be honest with you. I got a call earlier today to come to work to finish the last half of the day out, and I was like, I can't do it because I knew I had already made this obligation right here, and so and I, the job as far as being a first responder, I do wish you I wish you could have got a police officer and maybe even a female on here to hear from their point of view, because I mean, especially with a female firefighter, being in a male dominated position, having to basically be at the station all day with a bunch of men, just to see how that affects them mentally, because I can't speak from that point of view. I can only speak from the point of view of me being at the station with a bunch of dudes. I'd be like, I want to be around a woman from time.
Right.
I don't want to be at the station with y'all all day. But at the end of the day, it's the job. Like I said, I do love the job, so I don't want it to sound like I have much problems with it. But I also want to sound like it's just this fairy tale. It's we do a lot. We go out. You never know. Like 1 minute you sitting there laughing and joking, maybe even watching TV, might even be taking a nap, and the next minute you got a call and there's a blaze going somewhere and you got a fire going on, or you got to go to somebody's house for a CPR call. And then every now and then you get those calls where you go and you see the regular person that calls you every day, and he's funny or she's funny, and you get to laugh at that person and laugh with that person and get them on their way. So you go from so many different extremes with the job that you just have to take it as it goes. And to me, that's the way I try to live it. I just take it as it goes. Today might have been a rough day, but hopefully next shift it'll be a little bit better.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you this, Randy. Why are you guys the first one on the scene? Whenever someone calls 911, it's usually the firefighters that get there first.
Well, so just from a logistics point of view, the fire departments are normally in any county. The fire departments are strategically placed to be so that you can hit so much of the city in a space, right? So if you have an ambulance company, like with the city of Atlanta, we have Grady. DeKalb County has AMR. Though they may be, I used to work for AMR. You may be all the way on the other side of the cab and get a call on this side of the cab, and so the fire department will get there first before you will, because they're closer to their house, and so that's why most fire departments you're gonna see EMT. In Atlanta, we have EMTAs, or in Georgia, I'm sorry, we have EMTAs, which is considered advanced EMT, and they can do a little bit more than just a basic EMT. And then you have paramedics, like I am a paramedic, so then I can do basically a lot more than they can do. I can give narcotics, I can go that route and different things like that. So that's the reason why we'll be there first, because we're just closer to that address than ambulance would be.
Then the ambulance. Okay.
So we just get there to get started for them. Hopefully, it's nothing. And then sometimes it is something, and we have to get to work and get the work started before they get there. And when they get there, they take over and transport.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Now this next question, this for you, Desmond. This for the 911 operator. What is it like hearing someone's worst moment, but not always knowing what the outcome gonna be? Like their worst moment, it, and as tough as your skin is, and you say you numb to it.
Yeah, I've taken some calls like that where I've gotten invested, right, which you're not supposed to do because your job is to answer the call, process the information, send help. I've taken some calls where I've been emotionally invested. I made a connection with the caller. And I'm all in, and I'm like, we're gonna get you this help, and help is on the way, and I'm gonna stay on the phone with you until help gets there. And then I hang up, help gets there, and I never know what happens to that person. It can be a lot. It's like reading a book for the first time and never knowing the ending, or watching your favorite movie for the first time, but right at the good fight scene, it ends, and you never know what happens. But that's every single call for us. Our job isn't to know the ending. Our job is to handle the beginning and get help started. So I take the story and then I send out the help. That's probably the hardest part of this job, is because all we have is people's voice. Randy's on scene. He can see what's going on. Officers, they're on scene. They can see what's going on. All I have is what they're telling me. And if somebody's telling you a story, you're imagining what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, what you're imagining is much worse than what they're actually telling you. And we get these mental pictures in our head, and it's the absolute worst thing. But then officers, firefighters get on scene, and it's just, it's a little bit of blood, or it's not even serious, it's a poke. But when they was talking to me, they were talking about somebody's been stabbed and there's blood everywhere, it's a massacre. Sometimes we reach out to our responders to get some follow-up. Hey, just want to know what's going on with this call, or what happened with this. It happens sometimes. I will say, at my agency, our responders are really good about letting us know what's going on. And if it is a really tough call, our fire department, they're really good about including us in those debriefings, those conversations that happen after they've handled the call and they need to talk about it. So they invite 911 to be a part of that conversation as well, because we were a part of the response and they don't want to leave us out of that. But it can definitely be a challenge hearing the beginning of everything and getting no follow-up.
Like, have you ever taken a call, and like you said, y'all, you take the call, you send the help, that's it. But you saw the results, like maybe on news or something, and you was like, I took that call and they didn't make it, or this is what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, I've only heard my voice on the news in a 911 call one time.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you on news.
Yeah, I've been on there a couple times. That happens. Sometimes you do see it, and it's like, oh, I took that call, or I was at work that day. Of course, we love the feel-good stories when the outcome works out well, but sometimes it doesn't, and it's like, oh, dang. And sometimes we even learn stuff from the news that we didn't know. So I could be working at overnight and at 10 a.m. 10 p.m. take a call, and then the 5 o'clock news come on and they tell them about the story, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah.
So of course we don't get all the details. We just get what the person on the phone tells us.
Okay. Now, how do you handle calls with children and domestic violence? Because children are like that's a tough call.
children calls are tough. Like I said, I'm kind of numb to it, so I'm able to process any type of call, usually with no issues. Um, Children are always tough because I don't understand why somebody would want to hurt a child, or why is a child in pain? Why does a child have to suffer? Um, Domestic violence calls, it's really a different mode that you tap into, and you want to be, because all I have is my voice. I can't like wrap my arms around this person and be like, it'll be okay. I have to be that nurturing person over the phone, but also I still have a job to do, and I got to ask you these questions, and I got to get help on the way. So sometimes you may have to be a little stern if they're not listening to you. You may have to repeat yourself a couple of times, but it all works out in the end. But child callers are definitely, or incidents involving children, are always a little tough. The toughest calls for me is when somebody calls me and they need help and I feel helpless. Like sending the help doesn't even help the situation.
Right.
I've taken a couple of calls like that. Two in particular that I always tell the story about. One of them was a sexual assault call, and the other one was a domestic that turned into a homicide. And it's always like, there's nothing that I could have done to change the situation, help getting there quicker, and answering the call sooner. None of that would have changed. And those are the calls where I absolutely felt helpless. And those are the ones that stick with me.
Wow. Yeah. So how do you deal with that? Because I'm quite sure it's some that lingers with you. Then how you switch it off? Like, how do you turn that switch hearing those traumatic calls?
See,
because this is a part of first responders that the public don't know.
Right.
They don't know this about y'all. They don't know the emotion.
I can say I don't. It never really switches off.
Wow.
It never really switches off. I can agree with them. Like going to a call where you know it's nothing you can do, and you got family crying and hysterical and looking at you like you know, because they've seen on TV people start pumping on the chest and they gonna come back, and that's not real life.
Right.
And so it don't turn off. You think about that for a while, and sometimes you might go to another call and it may come back to you later on down the line, months down the line. It may come back to you, that one call that you went to months ago. So it really don't turn off. It's just really just keeping on going. You know, just keep on going, keep working, and understanding that this is part of the job.
Yeah, like learning how to cope with it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is for you, Randy, for the firefighter. And we just talked about you replaying the calls in your head and wondering if something could have done something differently, if it could have gone differently or something like that. And the adrenaline, how does the adrenaline affect you? Because firefighters, you guys have a weird sense of humor. Yeah. Y'all got this own little code that y'all live by. Adrenaline.
There's no doubt we do. I mean, the adrenaline. I mean, I don't know. I don't think for EMS call the adrenaline is there for most people. There are some people that's in the fire department that they love EMS like that, and so they go on the EMS call, and as soon as they get that call and they looking at the notes, that adrenaline is there. For me, when I'm looking at the notes, I look at the notes and I'm saying, okay, what do I have? If it looks serious, then I start calculating in my head, okay, what do I need to be thinking about, what I need to do? I know you asked him about children. For me, those are the calls that I think about a little bit more on the en route, because medications and different things for children is much different than doing it for an adult. I gotta have that dosage right, or I could definitely really hurt that child. So that's a little bit different. I will say my time working at Children's Hospital, I work at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta now too. So and I'm a paramedic in the ER there. That helps me with dealing with children a little bit better, because I'm dealing with them every day when I go there. But the adrenaline, I mean, it's a lot of adrenaline when you get in a fire call, because from the get-go, one thing we know about an EMS call is that Grady's coming or ambulance is coming. AMR, one of those two are coming.
Right.
With fire call, it's us. That's it. No one else is coming. It's gonna be us. And so that adrenaline is there from the start. You, especially when you at nighttime, you sleep, and that call come through, and it's from 0 to 100 like that. So it's no way to really explain it to you.
Right.
Besides just, I mean, if a person think about getting on a roller coaster and you about to get that drop, and you at the top and you about to go over, that's probably the best way to explain it. That feeling of it's you just fast. All of a sudden you're going up slow, and boom,
That drop down.
that drop is there. So that's the best way I can explain it.
Wow. Well, you guys already talked about your support system with your therapists. Outside of that, do you lean on your coworkers for emotional support? You just keep it going, like with your therapists, family members. Like, who is your community for that extra support? Or if you even need it, you guys might be good, but when you're trying to take care of yourself mentally and emotionally, who's usually there to support you?
I would say my friends. Therapist is great, but I find that I have to explain a lot to my therapist because they don't work in public safety and they don't understand this world, which is fine because sometimes you just need to explain things out. But my friends, my coworkers, I have 3 people that I've met through work who I'm very close with. That's my travel crew. We do everything together. Those are my people who I know that I can talk about this life with because they understand it. And it's easy because we work in the same place. They can relate to it. Of course, family is great, but also I know a lot of people in public safety try not to traumatize their family with the craziness of their work. I want to protect them from this. So I wouldn't come home, and if I'm upset about something, I'm not going to sit here with my mom and be like, hey, so I just need to talk to somebody today because I listened to somebody get shot in the face. I wouldn't dare do that because I'm trained to handle that. She's not.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Because you want to protect
I don't want to hear that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So definitely my friends, definitely the people that I work with, my coworkers, because they can relate.
Okay.
I got a few coworkers that I'll talk to. My therapist, like I said, she was a therapist for the fire department at one point, and although she's not anymore, I could talk to her about those things because she understands it from that point of view. She's never been a first responder, but by talking to so many of them, she has that experience. I like you said, I'm not gonna talk to my mom about different things that happen. For the most part, I might throw something out there like, "Hey, this happened today." I probably talk more about the funny stuff that happens than I talk about the real heavy stuff. I do have like I said, I got a 22-year-old, and so the funny thing is, I started the department when he was 13, and he has been a sounding board for me. Even as a young man, he was a sounding board for me to talk about different things that was going on. And when he was young, I didn't give him heavy things, but now that I'm old, now that he's older, I can explain some stuff to him about it, and we talk about it and everything. We have a very close relationship, so I could talk to my son about that type of stuff. And I do have some friends that don't work in the fire department that I could just they could tell when something is up, and I could just kind of share that with them without and just share it. It's nothing that they gonna be able to tell me or anything. Just
right, just to be an outlet. Just listen to me, bro. Just listen to me. Yeah. Well, that's good to have. That's good to have. What's something this job has taught you about life? Just like life in general, being a firefighter and a EMT and a 911 operator, outside of your job, just about life in general. You growing as a person, a family man. I hear you say you traveling with your friends. What's something that the job has taught you about life?
Um, Working at 911 has taught me to definitely enjoy life because this one I have is not promised. Anything can happen at any moment. Um, some of the calls I've taken, I've been on the phone where things were fine and then they were not, and people went downhill fast. Or some freak accident happened while I was on the phone. So I know this life is not promised. So enjoy every bit of it. Um, to not take life so seriously. Um, to have fun, work hard, but also enjoy yourself and just to take care of yourself. You can't show up for the people if you can't show up for yourself. So I think that's probably the number one thing is you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. If you're going to work in a public service job where you're serving other people, you got to make sure that you're good because you're not providing the best service to other people if you're not okay.
Okay, I can agree with that. I
Yeah.
can agree with that.
I have to, I mean, just same thing, just live life to the fullest. I can say this, I enjoy my job. I love my job, so it's easy for me to go to work. Some people that's in the fire service or in probably in emergency response, they might not love it like that. So it may not be easy for them to go, but I say live life to the fullest. Um, you only get this one life. In the words of Drake, YOLO.
Yo, you only live once.
So
Yes.
you only get this one time, and so enjoy everything you can enjoy. Take the things that's serious that need to be taken serious, but laugh as much as you can, enjoy your family as much as you can when you can. My son's grandfather was a pastor, and he used to always preach this sermon called "Living in the Moment." And so, live in the moment. That's the best way I could put it. Live in the moment. Be honor that moment that you're living in. The future is gonna come. We know we're gonna live on. Life is short, but it's long.
Right.
Most of us are not gonna die right away, but you just never know when your time is here. So just enjoy it. Live in the moment.
Right. I'm gonna go to the audience. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat while we continue. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to put your questions in the chat. But while we're waiting on that, how do you think your work has changed how you see people or humanity? Because for me, the world has definitely changed. I don't know if it's because I'm older, but it seems to be a lot more crueler. It's thoughtless. People seem to be a little bit more selfish. Um, and it's like to me, it's like everybody is everybody for themselves. People are not as compassionate as they used to be. And that's my personal opinion. It's just how I, see people. Nothing in concrete. It's just I noticed that everyday life, everybody in a rush. Everybody's mean when you're driving. Everybody they thoughtless. They driving too fast. They cutting you off. You got road rage. They arguing in the grocery store. They fussing about this. You can't stand in line nowhere without people arguing. Everybody's impatient. Everybody angry. Nobody has no emotional language. People don't say excuse me. I'm sorry. It's like everybody is just mad. It's like the whole world is almost angry. And I'm just wondering, how do you guys, from your point of view, how do you see humanity in people today? Not everybody. I'm just saying in general, like I see these things.
Some of the craziest, some of the scariest calls that I can tell you I've been on is freeway calls. Having to get out on the freeway, red lights and all of that, and people still would speed around you to get to where they're going. They don't care that you out there, that you may get hit. and different things like that. And in the fire service, people know people that have been hit on the road, responding to a call. And so those, I mean, and I run into fires, and that's not as scary as being on that freeway when people driving past you going 100 miles an hour and they see your lights on, they see you stop to help somebody.
Right.
So, I mean, I agree with you that people are not as considerate as when I was first started driving, you had to pull over when you see.
Yeah. When the red lights come.
And people do not pull over. They just keep going. So that I agree with you. But I tend to just not even worry about that because people gonna be people. And the funny thing is it's not their emergency, so they don't care until it's their emergency.
Until it's them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with everything that you listed over there. All the people are angry, people are just upset. I think the way that it has changed how I see the world, people are afraid to have conversations with the people around them. People are afraid to simply go over to their neighbor's house and be like, hey, can you stop doing that? Can y'all chill out? They'd rather call 911. They'd rather call the police. And now you're involving us. And now you're adding this extra layer on it. And it's unnecessary. Just go talk to your neighbor.
You can't go talk to these people.
And on the flip side of that, I will say I've learned this, that people are quick to shoot back.
People are angry. I'm like, people, like, seriously, back in the day, you could hit the broom. If your neighbor making too much noise, you could bam, 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 hit a couple of times and let them know the music's too loud or whatever, you're making too much noise. You do that today, they about to come outside and knock on your door. Why you being on my wall like that?
Yes.
It's not the same. It's not the same. It is definitely a generational shift.
We used to talk to each other a lot more back in the day too.
We did.
Talk to your neighbors. You had a rapport with your neighbors a lot more in the day. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been living in my house for almost a year now. Just bought a house last year, and my mom has come to visit from Detroit, and she know more the neighbors than I do because I'm always at work. So I mean, but people talk to people. But I do try to wave at the people when I see them in neighborhood and stuff. But people used to talk to their neighbors a lot more and talk to the people around them a lot more. And so you had a rapport. So I could go and talk to your kids and tell them, hey, chill out.
Right.
But nowadays, if you don't have it, I wouldn't expect you to say anything to anybody. I don't want nobody saying nothing to me and you don't know me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't come talking about what I got going on and you don't know what's going on over here because you haven't spoken with me at any other time.
Yes, I feel like it's definitely a disconnect with humanity, us, and with this technology and stuff. We do not socialize, we do not talk, we do not do anything. So that's why your job is going to be that much more busy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're calling you guys more, because I'm going to call you before I go say anything to anybody. I'm not getting ready to argue with you. No, you can argue with the police because I'm not getting ready to do it. And it's sad that we're there, but that's the world that we're living in right now, that you guys are the safe space for people that don't want to be confrontational. And you dare not say nothing to the young people these days. Like, you can't even pull up at the red light with the water boys and they taking people cash out, taking their phone and stealing their money off their phones. It's a lot to deal with. It's just a lot to deal with out there in the world today. But again, we thank you. I thank you guys so much. Our closing question, because we are winding down. This has been really good, really good, really good. What advice would you give someone who is in a stressful career, who feels mentally exhausted? Because it's people that's in your field that feels mentally exhausted and they don't know what to do, especially if they just coming into the type of work, the line of work that you guys do.
I would say if you are feeling something, if you are feeling a way, you have to let somebody know. You cannot sit there, go to work every day, sit in the corner, and try to push through. If you are having some mental health issues, if you're not feeling up to it, if you're feeling burned out, you need to talk to a supervisor, talk to a director, wellness coordinator, or whatever. Let somebody know what you're feeling so they can step in and do something about it. Because you just sitting there and let it pile on, it's not gonna work. It's gonna affect the quality of your work until you explode, and then you may end up losing your job. So I talk to somebody. Always talk to somebody. Let somebody know what you're feeling. Let somebody know what you're going through. I've seen it countless times where people in my own workplace have been going through things and not talking to anybody, but then the person over here has said something. They mentioned it to somebody. We made something work for them. We made something happen for them. But you over here just sad, upset, mad, angry at the world, but nobody knows what you're going through. You got to talk to somebody.
Right.
I totally agree. Communication is the most important thing. Find somebody at the job that you can talk to. Find somebody at home, family, cousin, brother, sister, mother, father, son, whatever it is, wife. Find somebody to talk to that will listen, not judge, and let you just get it out. Because we get so much dumped on us. Desmond taking the call, I'm going to the call. That's dumped on us. So you have to be able to get that off at some point. Because even us, we got, Desmond, I can guarantee you that he has family and friends that dump on him even more when he get home. Outside of those calls, he got people that's leaning on him at home for mental health and stability. And he still got to be there for them too. So we got to find somebody to let that off on too.
Absolutely. You got to find you a safe space, guys. Find you a safe space. And I want you guys to tell me before we get off of here, what's one thing you do?
Hold on, Mom. Before you do your final question, we would be remiss if we did not. We are an anti-suicide organization, and with a 911 operator and a firefighter, can you just explain or tell the people how do you respond to a suicide attempt call, or how do you redirect them in a situation like that if somebody calling suicidal?
Good question, Doug. Thank you.
That is a good question. So, people all their life have been told to call 911. While 988 does exist, we do our best to educate people about 988. But when they do call us, we have access to transfer them to the suicide hotline, or depending on the person that's answering that call, sometimes we just tough it out and stay on the phone with them. Of course, our job is to get information, send help. And sometimes we have to play therapist and kind of talk this person down. That's for somebody that's calling us thinking they are having suicidal thoughts, ideations. But for somebody that does an active attempt, I have to get help there as quick as possible. Try to figure out what's going on. And then from there, my responders will try to get some mental health help to the person.
Okay.
On my side, I mean, depending on what the suicide call is, if they have weapons on scene, our first protocol is to make sure that we get police on scene first to disarm them and get that situation handled. Then from there, I mean, it's up to us. If we need to give any medical attention, we do that. And like I said, we transfer over to a transport unit to get them to where they need to go to get the rest of the help they need.
Oh, wow. Okay. So with that, Doug, can you put up the 988 or the suicide prevention information, which we should have been doing anyway? But thank you guys for that information. And it's a mental health. What's the mental health number when they call for the police if it's a mental health situation? or is it just 911? Or is it a different number?
You have to ask Desmond about that one. I don't know.
We encourage people to dial 988. We educate people to dial 988 for someone having a mental health crisis. If they do call 911, of course, our job is to get all the information. I will say that now compared to 12 years ago when I did start, the training for first responders when it comes to responding to mental health crisis has been amazing because now they understand what's going on.
The significance of it.
20 years ago, probably not. So I think that that's a positive in the public safety side where they're training people to be more aware of these situations and to be more aware of people's mental illnesses and disabilities and things like that. Our responders, I'm pretty sure they go through some type of autism awareness training. They learn about different disabilities. They learn about different mental health crises. So I think that public safety is doing a great job at training first responders on how to handle these situations and what to do when you encounter these certain situations.
So is that the same for EMTs when you pull up and it's a mental health crisis?
It's the same. I mean, the training is there. It's a lot better than I could say even just 10 years ago when I started learning about those different mental situations. Somebody that's suicidal, or like he said, autism, different things like that. The training is there, and we just have to do better about picking it out right away,
identifying, yeah,
and figure out, okay, this is what's going on. Everybody, the running joke for me is that some of us on the spectrum in the fire department. So
right.
So I mean, we have to figure out what's going on. Like I said, it's a job where you do have to keep your head on the swivel. You never know what's the next thing. So dealing with somebody that's going through a mental health crisis themselves, you just want to make sure that you're not going in there and doing something that's just going to set the whole situation off the wrong way. Me being a paramedic, I can sedate, I can do different things on the street to get them in a more calm state and get them, to where they need to go.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you guys again. Thank you so much for all of the information. Thank you for sharing the bits and pieces of your life in this stressful job that you do. Thank you for all that you do for us. And I want you, before we leave, to just tell us one way that you live out your best life, doing all of this that you do every day for everybody else. What do you do for you to live it out?
Travel, booking a flight, booking a cruise, booking something. I'm going somewhere.
Okay, traveling.
Like I said, I just try to live in the moment. I do creative projects. I do different things to just try to de-stress myself and not think about the fire department. So when I'm off the fire department, for the most part, I'm doing my own thing.
Oh, awesome. Well, you keep doing that. Thank you again. Randy, give us the plug for Randy is also an author. He has his own podcast and some other things that you're doing. So put your plug in, Randy.
Well, I sent you can reach me on Instagram at the handle that's on the screen, Randy R. Graham. And from there you can click my link and you can find all the different things that I'm involved in. Okay, awesome. What about you, Desmond? Anything you want to plug in?
No, I ain't got nothing.
Okay.
I just go to work.
Why he out the country? Talking about traveling. Why he already out the country? Throw your ears up for Live It Out Inc. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. For everything you do, continue to live your best life. Go forward and be great. Keep saving lives one day at a time, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next week.